Hello guys, welcome back. Now in the previous video we looked at how to work with index path dot row and what it does by printing out the row that we're currently in, the index of it, and that starts at 0. So in this one we're going to now see how we could populate these objects, the new status and the user, into the table like we said earlier. So here in the found objects, instead of printing out the objects themselves, or I could just leave that below it, I could say I could use a for loop now. And first of all, I want to create an array of statuses and an array of users, so I'll do that first. So let's go ahead back here and just say var, and then I'll say usernames, and I'll create an array of string, and just like that. I can copy that, or I can just retype it again, and I could say user statuses, and this is same thing, string. And then now we come down here, and then we say we now create a for each loop now and put each status into the user status array and each username to the usernames array. You get the point. So we'll say for, and I'll say status because it's a status object, or I could simply say object for object. In, I'll use a for in loop here, for object in self dot m object, or you could just use the object, but in this case let's use the member variable. And then we say we now grab this self dot usernames, and then we append data to it, self dot usernames dot append, and then we append an element, and in this case it's an object, and then it's an object, in this case user. This keyword, this is the key here, this key user right here. So we grab the object itself, and then we grab its user, which is in this case, for example, here it's Jew, and here it's 0 hours, and here it's T7, and so on and so forth. So it grabs that and appends it into that. And as you can see here, we have an error because we have to say as string, because it returns any object, so we have to cast it. So we'll do the same here, and we'll say self dot user statuses dot append. So we are appending data to that, and then we grab the object status in this case now. So just paste that in the object, and then in this case we have to be precise here and say new, exactly the way it's written there. I can copy that and paste just if you're not sure, and then say as string. Okay, so I'll close this so that we have space there. Now we have appended those two items. So one very important thing that I always forget is to reload the data. This is always very important because we need to reload the table. So this home table view should be reloaded dot reload data. I always forget to do that, and then I struggle for hours. Okay, so we have that, and then now what are we missing here? So we have that appended. Now we can now use this usernames and the user statuses by coming here and saying, now instead of just a string like this, we'll say this is the username. I'll say user self dot usernames, and then in this case it's object just a second here, and then we say index path dot row now, because as a matter of fact this self is not necessary because it just turned color. So I could just do the same here and say user statuses and then index path dot row. So it grabs the username at that row and then puts it into that the row at that the label in that row, and the same with the status there. So with that done, let's try to run this and see. Hopefully it really works this time. Okay, so we're crossing our fingers here. Everything is working. And there we have it. So that looks really great. So we have the statuses printing out and the usernames as well, 0 hours to like 7. So that is really promising. So in the next video, we're going to see now how to add our image and try to decorate the look of the homepage. So far, congratulations.